All right, yeah, so I think we pretty much good to start. Today we have a very important guest, or special guest, if you will. He is the community lead for Safe Haven. Safe Haven, I'll let him introduce it himself, but Safe Haven is one of those projects that we feel is providing a unique use case and is actually providing real world value. So that's what we love to talk about here. And without further ado, Tyler, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing? Thank you for having me here today. I'm head of community growth for Safe Haven, and I essentially do outreach attempts and get new people within the community and help us expand and grow. So just to briefly touch on what Safe Haven is an ecosystem that provides B2B2C solutions, with decentralized inheritance being our primary focus via Inheritee. The organization was originally formed back in 2018 when we tokenized under the Ethereum blockchain as an ERC20 token. The need for change was clear though, because we're a utility token and the gas would have been very outrageous, hence the swap to VIP 180 VeChain. The swap also enabled additional means of fee delegation and multi-payment protocols.
Okay, perfect. Safe Haven is again one of those projects that not many people know about. So, could you give us like maybe try to explain in simple terms the importance of decentralized digital inheritance and passing down data in a safe, decentralized way?
Yeah, that's a great place to start. So essentially, in crypto, everybody has a private wallet, or they should. And that wallet has private keys and mnemonic phrases. So if someone gets a hold of those private keys or mnemonic phrases, then they essentially have access to all the tokens inside, which also includes NFTs. And of course, you don't want anybody having access to your wallet, because then they could just take your funds and do what they see fit.
Exactly. And what exactly is Safe Haven doing to solve this issue of decentralized inheritance? Give me I guess 3 examples of how this will be used.
Yeah, sure. So currently only the community edition is available, which enables anyone to establish a decentralized inheritance plan that contains critical data. Critical data is private keys, mnemonic phrases, seeds, key stores, recipes to family foods and whatnot, for example, login credentials to centralized and decentralized accounts and social media platforms. But to further the inheritance solutions that we're going to provide, when our standard and business edition is available, that'll allow our solution to be integrated with platforms of others, such as partners and exchanges. And what does that mean? So a user will see a button on the platform that says establish a decentralized inheritance plan. That allows the user to create a monthly subscription plan. This plan can then be paid with tokens of that platform or Stripe and PayPal, which will then be converted in the back end to follow our protocol of white paper.
Perfect. So to explain that to everyone, or just to be clear, you can deploy and have your own decentralized inheritance plan with a few clicks of a button, and you don't even need cryptocurrency to make it happen. You can pay in cash or PayPal or Stripe, and they will turn that into Safe Haven on the back end using the VeChain protocol.
That's absolutely correct, but we don't have that established yet. We're building towards that, and that's when the standard edition and business edition comes into play. But currently, the community edition allows everybody to establish decentralized inheritance with our safe key hardware, which basically stores the encrypted and fragmented plan shares.
Okay, so let's just give everybody a basic scenario. Me, my wife, and my kid. I have a cryptocurrency that I need to make sure is passed down decentralized way. How would that look like? Just the average person setting up a plan, like if I have a wife and a kid.
So essentially, you would determine the amount of benefactors and heirs, and then you would go purchase the amount of safe keys required. Each heir will need one, and whenever you establish the plan, all that critical data will get fragmented and equally shared on those safe keys. And when the time comes and you unfortunately pass away, all the heirs will meet together with the merger authority. Anybody, you can set the merger authority to anybody, but we strongly recommend that lawyers are appointed. But so whenever heirs meet with the merger authority, they plug in their safe keys to start the unlocking process, and then that's whenever the DMS will be triggered. And essentially, the DMS is a dead man switch. It prevents heirs from unlocking the inheritance too early. So, making it really simple, whenever they start that process, the DMS is triggered, and then depending on how the initiator of the plan established the DMS, they will receive an email, text, or whatever means necessary. And if they don't respond within the allotted time that they designated within that plan, whether it be weeks or months, then the inheritance is unlocked, because that is what's known as the validator share. So whenever you don't respond to that DMS, that validator share is then released after the period ceases, and that allows them to fully unlock the data. So there's a lot of extra layers of security, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Perfect. Okay, so in the case, my wife and kid, to prevent any kind of fraud, if my wife or kid tried to team up and say, you know what, let's go run off with dad's money, they would need to press the dead man switch, and if that means that they will call me, text me, email me, and ask me if I'm still alive. And if I'm not alive, of course I can't respond. And if I don't respond, the people that are trying to merge together, my heirs, can merge their hardware devices, the little cold storage devices together, and they can unlock whatever I've encrypted into the blockchain, correct?
You got it, brother. That's exactly correct.
And this is patent pending, correct? Like you guys have already filed for this to be exclusive and the first movers on this, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Perfect. Okay. Who are the competitors that you see in the decentralized inheritance field, or just inheritance in general when it comes to crypto?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, everybody's got competitors in this world, but luckily, we kind of don't. We're the only decentralized solution. There's Vault 12 and Casa. They use multi-signatures and store the data within their backend, essentially, and that can be accessed many different ways with hacking and whatnot, or just the own employees. But I'm not going to get into all that today. What gave them an edge in the beginning was a mobile application that allowed ease of use for their clients. And we're dulling that edge by establishing Inherency Mobile currently, which does not sacrifice decentralization.
Wow, yeah, that's really important. I think the accessibility of mobile devices. Essentially what you're saying is that there is no other product out there that lets you pass down keys or any critical data in a decentralized way. Zero in the world, correct?
Correct.
That is amazing. That's the type of gems that I think I like to look for in the crypto space, because we have $2 trillion in the market, yet the only way to pass that down in a decentralized way is sitting under a $15 million market cap, 20, whatever it is right now. But I think that's amazing. Last thing I have for you is, do you see this being adopted by traditional trust firms and like traditional wills and inheritance? And what year, or can you maybe speak on the time frame about when we could see maybe a business edition roll out?
Yes, I can go over that. So where do I see this? That's whenever the business continuity plan, the BCP, and the inner circle plan come into play. That allows corporations and firms to establish a contingency plan for pertinent and confidential data. So when do I see this coming into play? That's kind of hard to speak on right now, because we're actually waiting for a grant to be approved for that process. And whenever we get news on that grant, that's whenever we're going to proceed with that part. But in the meantime, we have many other things that we're working on to strengthen our mass adoption capabilities, which is the Inherency Mobile that I mentioned earlier. And we're also working on another product right now called Fund Request, but we could save that for another day.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if I focus so much on cryptocurrency, because Safe Haven or Inherity is not just a platform you can pass down crypto. It's a platform that you can pass down any sensitive critical data. So if you guys in the audience have a family recipe to some peach cobbler or fried chicken, whatever it is, and you want to pass that down in a way that nobody gets their hands on it and it's secure and it's orderly, then this is a way you can do that. It doesn't have to be about crypto. It could be NFTs, it could be NBA Top Shot moments, it could be literally anything. Data. So think bigger than crypto here.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And carrying off of that quickly, one thing that I was strongly involved with is Vulcanverse. Our community got involved with Vulcanverse, which is highly developed with NFTs, and we essentially entered that space to provide decentralized inheritance for all the clients within Vulcan Forge ecosystem itself, which includes all their dApps and games within.
Yes, I think I've spoken about Vulcanverse a few times on here. Vulcanverse is like a 3D virtual world, and each piece of property and piece of land is an NFT that you can sell and trade on the market. And what Safe Haven is doing is beautiful, because they're directly porting to that to make it easy to where you could safely pass down your NFTs and land that you bought on that game. So yeah, that's a great integration. I think that's just the first of many for Safe Haven. I could even see Safe Haven being like a one-click button on Binance or some other major application in the future. But yeah, it's beautiful. Late night, what's good, man? You can see.
Hey man, I appreciate that, man. Appreciate you, Tyler. Appreciate you, D. I'm just outside running. Normally I'm like set in place, but this weekend's been a little busy for me. But no, I'm just absorbing all the information. And again, Tyler, thank you for coming in and just talking to our community, and D definitely for holding it down. But yeah, no, I'm just learning, man. We might want to open up the floor, see if some people may want to, ask a few questions. How you feel about that, Tyler?
That sounds good to me. I'm ready for anything. Come on.
Hand raising is turned on, so if anybody has any questions about decentralized inheritance or Safe Haven or how to use it, come on up, please.
Come on up, definitely. Just mute your mics, guys. When you come up until it's your turn to talk, just mute your mics so we don't get that feedback. And just if you have any questions, we'll go. I think we have Marshall, Jacob, and Dave. Marshall, the floor is yours.
Hey guys, thanks very much for having me up. So it seems to me that you guys seem to know quite a bit about NFTs. So a little bit of background. I've been mining Bitcoin since 2010. And it's a strange feeling to feel left behind, because I still mine at a very large scale. I just can't really wrap my head around, I don't know how to articulate this. I'm not going to say the value proposition of NFTs, but, a lot of stuff's going on in the art world. I'm very naive on the art world. I am a gamer, and I've played some of these NFT-backed games, and I see the draw there as far as like OpenSea and being able to peer-to-peer trade your in-game NFTs. Beyond that, I know I'm missing something, and I'm wondering from you guys who are experts in this field, seemingly, could you maybe paint a picture of something beyond something as fleeting as an in-game item?
Yeah, of course, man. I'm glad you asked that question. So I'm going to use Vulcanverse as an example. What I like to call it is utility NFTs. It's not just an NFT that sits on your wallet for you to look at later and, it's just a limited item. It actually has utility within the ecosystem. One good example would be the gods and titans that they recently released. So if you have a god or a titan on your wallet, then that provides access to a Cilium. A Cilium is a location within Vulcanverse that can only be accessed if you have the titan or god. And when you're there, you can purchase rare NFTs from Vulcan City itself. And that would be a good example of how utility NFTs work. I could go on for days about other examples too, but I think that pretty much covers it.
Yeah, and one of my favorite non-art applications of NFT is like real estate. When you think about dividing real estate up into multiple shares and creating unique NFTs, like let's say I wanted to buy an apartment building for $1 million and I don't have $1 million. Well, I could raise money with everybody in this chat. Everybody puts in, we can create unique NFTs for everybody, and I can distribute the passive income directly to those NFTs. And just like it provides, NFTs are going to be like bigger than just art is what I'm trying to say. There's a lot of different industries where non-fungible, unique tokens that provide representation of real world things is going to be huge.
Right, and I'll just add one of the NFT that was one of my first NFTs and my only was NBA Top Shot. You know what I mean? And to see the value in that, you know, is several different use cases that they're creating. It's definitely a new space, but the fact that, you know, before these minted digital moments were placed on the blockchain, you did have you know, baseball and basketball cards, traditional cards that had value. So the fact that we can actually account for the units, and not only that, you actually own in the NBA moment with how big the sports world is. I think that there'll be value, especially when you have limited series, or they were talking about, you know, being able to send your NFT to the actual game and, you know, giving that player much more stamina, or actually tokenizing, you know, breaking down that NFT and, you know, holding possibly 60%, putting 40% on the market to create buying pressure, you know, borrowing against the value of the NFT based on the network of the, you know, the power of the network effect. So, but yeah, man, I think it's a great space. And again, I'm an enthusiast, so crypto enthusiast, so I'm all down for, you know, just trying different things that I feel like.
Thanks so much for that, guys. It's just, it's unique from my standpoint because I've been in Bitcoin and crypto for so long, and this is something that's, I feel like I've missed as far as like the whole point. So that really helped a lot. Thanks so much. I'll move myself down.
Nah, thank you for coming up. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
NFTs,
thank you,
I don't
man.
think you'll ever be too late. I think NFTs is the future, so you're good. Jacob, what's going on?
Yeah, hey guys. I actually started a company probably 3 years ago and raised some venture funding in LA to do like wills and trusts on smart contracts on the Ethereum network. And I was really curious. One thing we ran into was basically no matter what you do when it comes to inheritance or, you know, automatic execution within a contract, somebody's going to dispute it or somebody's going to have a problem with it. So I was curious, like, how broad your use case is going to end up being for Safe Haven. Like, are you planning to expand into, like, any and all digital assets and real-world assets? And then what does it look like when someone disputes that? I kind of know a lot about it, but I'm really curious about, like, your specific use case. I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, that's a great question. And essentially, once somebody establishes the plan, the critical data that's within is indisputable if you have the keys and shares to unlock it. Now, as far as what type of items you can make inheritable, anything that you can make digital can be inheritable. And also, carrying on to that, later we have something called the Vault for Inherency, which will enable large files like videos, long documents, you know, stuff like that. I hope that answered your question. If not, please tell me to continue.
Thanks.
Dave, what's going on, man?
Yeah, not much. Thanks for having me up. I don't know hardly anything about NFTs. I was just curious. This is Safe Haven it's a token, right? And the theory behind it is you would buy Safe Haven tokens, you know, in the amount that you want to pass over, and then you guys would allow access, given the people who want to access them later have the keys, right? They would be purchasing the Safe Haven token.
The amount of Safe Haven that you purchase does not depend on the amount that you're trying to protect or essentially allow your heirs to inherit. The only amount that's needed right now for the Community Edition is 10,000 SHA plus 2,000 SHA per backup. And that's pretty much it. So if you have 10,000 SHA plus 2,000 available for each backup that you designate, then it's on your Comet wallet, and then it pulls the SHA from off of the Comet wallet, and then it pays for the plan. And that's the process for the Community Edition.
Gotcha. Okay. So what do the economics look like as far as how the token is distributed, or, you know, are you going to be on exchanges? I mean, you know, could the price go up to 100 and it turns out to be like outrageously expensive to store it? I mean, how are you going to regulate what those 10,000 SHA
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're currently on multiple different exchanges. The two that I'm going to mention are KuCoin and OceanX. There's other ones as well, but you can look into that later. But as far as the amount of tokens needed to pay for a plan, the beauty part of it all is we can change the amount needed as appreciation occurs. Because what you have to keep in mind is with our protocol, every product that's used, a smart contract is required to be signed. All right? And 80% of that gas goes to a utility reward pool for our node holders, while the other 20% is burnt from total supply.
Okay. Now that goes kind of on to my next thing is, so you guys have the ability to just change the code. We have to trust you. You're not going to do anything malicious, right? How does that relate into like being decentralized if there's no type of governance system where outside of your guys' own internal type of structure?
Well, if you were utilizing centralized applications like Vault 12 or Castle, then yeah, you need to worry about that because they have access to it essentially. It's stored in their back end. But with us, you don't have to worry about that. You can view the recent audit report that was established by Red4Sec, which validates that no critical data is stored within the back end of our platform. All of the shares or all of the data is encrypted and fragmented to be stored on the safe key cold storage hardware. And that's essentially how it works. So the only people who have I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. So I get that you guys don't keep the data, which that's awesome, right? You guys are like privacy and as far as how you're storing things, but as far as being decentralized, and I'm not saying you guys would do this, but the whole part of decentralization is to take away the trust in a entity, right? So like the banks aren't going to steal my money more than likely. However, if they wanted to, there's no recourse because there's really no one telling them they can't, right? So like with you guys, and you guys have all the access to the code, you guys probably have centralized the developing team, right? Because you guys probably, pay the developing team to provide code and to maintain the network and probably, set up updates and whatnot. Besides us trusting you, is there any safeguard between you updating whatever you want to the code or just creating whatever rules you want to the current protocol, right? Like, you know how, like with Bitcoin, there's the miners, there's the nodes, and then there's the developers, right? I mean, they all have to kind of be in agreement. There's the governance behind it. Is there any type of decentralized governance on this platform to kind of safeguard from that trust that we have to have in you?
Yeah, so essentially our protocol it's not gonna change, and we're not gonna alter how it works. We have our own coders in-house, and Jurgen is the one who created all of this in his head, and Andy is essentially our developer who makes all of it come to life. Now, as far as how can you validate that we're not going to change any of those protocols without anybody knowing, we currently have a 24-month auditing program and bug bounty program that's going to be taking place from, have you heard of Integrity? That's the people who are going to be doing it. I highly suggest you research them. Oh yeah, number one ethical hacking team in the UE. The EU.
Okay.
Apologies.
And then last question, just because this is definitely going to probably be a thing. Say I want to give my kid the keys or whatever. Whatever I'm passing down. What if he just loses the keys? Is there like a forget my password somewhere, or is it just he loses the keys, I'm sure I would probably take the precaution of making sure, they're not lost. But then I would probably have to do that through some centralized authority or whatever. But
yeah, that's a great question. And to answer that, so whenever you're establishing the plan, you have the option to create backups. And that's what I was referring to earlier.
Oh, okay.
Each backup is an additional 2,000 SHA. So the way that it works is the more backups you create, the less decentralized it is, because it acts as a replacement for shares that might get lost. But if you want to have the utmost decentralization, you can decide to do 0 backup shares, which is recommended. And the reason why that's why it's going to be safe to do that in case if one doesn't get lost is on our Safe Key desktop application, we're enabling backups currently. And once that's done, you could take each safe key, plug it in, and then get the fragmented data off of there, store it on that application briefly, and then plug in a new safe key and put it on there to where it's the same thing essentially. And as far as worrying about them losing it, to further that, what we usually recommend is that you use a lawyer as the merger authority, who is in charge of seeing that all the safe keys are merged properly and everyone gets their inheritance as the owner of the state initiated in the plan. And you could also set up the contract to where, let's say you have safe keys stored in lockboxes, kind of like making a form of decentralized centralization in itself. You know, you go to private banks and you pay for a lockbox, and then you put your decentralized stuff in there, and then that's that's just one way you could do it. You know, there's many ways you could do it. Buy a safe, bury it in the ground, then put a treasure map on the vault for inherentee, and then let the heirs look at the treasure map. So it's really how creative you want to get. We provide the tools to allow you to be successful.
Yeah, I think I really appreciate that about Safe Haven. They give you a scale of how decentralized you want this to be. You can be, extreme decentralized, or you can involve a lawyer. You can involve however many shares that you want. So it's a lot of flexibility on the platform. That's what I really like about it.
Yeah. All right, thanks. I just had those questions. Thanks. Let me answer my questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Dave. Those were great questions, man. Seriously.
Hi, Tyler. On the website, I was looking at for Safe Haven, you guys opening up their platform for entrepreneurs and other developers and other professionals. So, kind of adding on to the topic what everyone else was talking about. Can you elaborate further on, what are the plans to kind of open it up to the community?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that first part. What were you referring to? The website?
Yeah, on the website, when it's talking about opening up to entrepreneurs and developers to kind of build with Safe Haven.
Oh, you're referring to our new product, Fund Request, which is going to open up an open source platform to allow developers to post their code work and essentially have people create. It's like think of like a bug bounty program. A developer posts a task that needs to be completed within the smart contract to help develop, and then whoever accepts it, they complete it, and then they receive the funds that are put up by the person that established the project there. Think of it like the Fiverr of the blockchain. It's a Fiverr for developers and supporting to Binance Smart Chain. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, partially, but also, let me just read it exactly. So, on the website it says, we will open our platform to our tech solutions to the community, developers, entrepreneurs, inheritance and trust professionals, and existing financial service companies. So, just kind of just touching on the capabilities of what that outreach can do.
Yeah, of course. And essentially what that means is whenever we have our solution integratable to where it can integrate with partners and other platforms, then all the clients and actual business employees can utilize our services through their own platforms. That's all that's referring to, allowing us to expand to multiple different means of the world and financial systems.
Yeah, with that being said, it's pretty much showing that, Safe Haven kind of has unlimited reach.
Exactly. I'm right there with you, Bearded. What's going on, Scott? Did I skip over Stanton? I'm sorry.
Yeah, hey, my bad. I got to go in a bit, so I want to ask this question. It's going to be about the taxation of that, because right now, securities, or technically, stocks and securities pretty much as a whole, when someone passes away, the people who inherit those stocks and taxes, or stocks and bonds, all your securities, you are It's kind of like the loophole where the buy price becomes the day that person dies, so you won't have to pay taxes on your capital gains. And I'm wondering how that would transfer over to the crypto and NFT space, because, like, let's say I bought one share of Google, random number, $100, and it went up to $1,000, $900 profit. Capital gains is taxable. If I were to pass away when I was at $1,000, now for the person who inherits that stock, the buy price was that very same day I died, meaning they don't have to pay capital gains. So how are you guys navigating that? How does it apply to crypto and NFTs and, so forth?
Yeah, that's a great question. Seriously. That's at the discretion of the initiator of the inheritance plan. So what I would recommend personally is anything that you wish for heirs to inherit, something that you're never going to touch, create a separate private wallet. Never touch it. Never give it the capability to move off of that wallet and show that you might be trying to sell or do whatever necessary. Does that make sense?
Like, a little bit. I mean, you're saying just have a dedicated wallet to it. I mean, which just, kind of what you want. You're saying, like, have a centralized wallet with all your crypto and NFTs in that wallet, pretty much, right?
Yeah, correct. Essentially, what you know is never going to be touched and inherited by heirs. Create a personal wallet for it. I mean, you could even go the route of putting your personal wallets that you constantly trade with and transfer, just in case if you never have time to transfer those assets to the private wallet to where they inherit the full estate.
I think my question was a bit more towards the tax side. I don't know if you guys have.
Yeah. So I think the taxes you're gonna be responsible for your own jurisdiction, because Safe Haven is an international platform. So the inheritance tax in America versus I don't know, somewhere in Europe is going to be completely different. So I think I was watching an interview from the CEO, and he was saying that it is still going to be up to the user of the platform's responsibility to abide by local tax policy.
I got you. So we're assuming that tax laws are going to apply just like they would for stocks to crypto.
Yes. Thank you for that, Darian.
Thanks for that, guys. I got to head out.
Thank you, Sam.
I appreciate you for coming. Scott, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing? I just had a question on what type of token will you be using, what type of ERC token, and then how will the data be stored on the token?
So our token, it's VIP180, which is on the VeChain blockchain. We originally started on ERC, but we made the token swap a long time ago. And as far as data being stored on the token, there's no data stored on the actual SHA token. The SHA token is a utility token used to pay for the products within our ecosystem.
So do you plan on, how are you going to pass down information, say a will or something, if it's not tied to the token?
So what happens is you go to our Inheritee platform and you input all of the inheritable data within the inheritable data dialog box. Then all of that data gets encrypted and fragmented to be stored on safe key storage or cold storage hardware. And you use the tokens to pay for that plan. A plan currently costs 10,000 SHA per plan plus 2,000 SHA per backup.
Do you plan on ever actually using a token to store data?
I don't think the token is. I think that's kind of like shoving a token maybe where it doesn't need to be. It's all encrypted to the VeChain Door blockchain. If I'm not, correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler.
All the data is encrypted and fragmented and like it uses secure shared distribution protocol, which is basically the Shamir splitting mechanism, and all of the encrypted files are just put on the safe keys. But yeah, we use the VeChain blockchain.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Scott.
Muhammad.
Hello. Thanks for letting me speak. I appreciate it. So my question was if you guys were familiar with the new space of decentralized insurance, and in particular, ether risk. Is that something you guys might have heard of by any chance?
To be honest with you, I don't really look into that much right now. I'm mainly involving myself with NFTs and community outreach, getting more people into our group. That would be something that maybe our head of business growth operations, Thomas, would be able to answer better, but that's not in my line of work.
Of course, thank you. So maybe I'll kind of make my question a bit more direct. What about for insured assets? Suppose I have some sort of insured asset, for instance, on Etherisk or any other type of insured asset. How would passing down insured crypto assets kind of work in this system? Suppose if the asset were to if the asset were disappear or burn down or what have you, whatever payout I would have received or my my posterity would receive, how would that work, for instance?
Okay, yeah, I see what you're getting at. So if you're referring to liquidity pools and stuff like that, essentially if you wanted to protect that, all you'd have to do is input the login credentials to that centralized or decentralized platform. And if you were to pass before you were able to move everything out of the liquidity pool, you could just have your heirs see that login credential, and then they'd use that to log in and retrieve all the data. And that's why I was mentioning the vault earlier. That's not out right now, but whenever it comes out, people will be able to essentially pass down videos, which you could explain to your heirs how to unlock that pool, how to get it on their private wallet, etc., etc.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for the question.
Yeah, appreciate you, Muhammad. My man.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, my man.
My man, what's going on, my man?
What's up, late night? What's up there? Tyler, thanks for hopping on here. I'm definitely curious about your platform. I'm excited to kind of hear you speak about it and kind of go into some detail. So I guess my question is probably just a tad more technical. If I did want to build on your platform and kind of test it out, what would be the best resources to check out?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have a Telegram community, and I can provide links to everything that you need. Everything. Which will provide walkthroughs of how to set up a plan. I can provide the docs to where you could read the whole white paper and see how the process works. And if you want, I can go into that briefly and explain how the shared distribution protocol works. Would you like me to do that?
I would like it. I just don't want to kind of overwhelm.
No, it's all right.
Like that.
Yeah, we'll just give a disclosure to everyone in the audience. He may go a little technical here. Just try to catch up, or just catch what you can just for a second.
Okay, so I'm going to use an example with, let's say, 3 heirs. You got 3 heirs, so you need 3 safe keys. Whenever you initiate the plan, a total of 2 shares per key is going to be created from that fragmentation, and those shares are stored on the key. Now, there's also another validator share that's stored on the Inherency SC, and that is what is needed to unlock the final piece of the puzzle whenever the dead man switch activates. And that's pretty much how the plans are stored. Well, actually, if you do the backup share, like if you want to do the backup, then that also creates an additional 2 shares. But as I said earlier, we recommend 0 backup shares, because the more backup shares you have, the less decentralized it becomes.
Did that kind of answer your question, my man?
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll definitely check out more online. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for the question.
We appreciate you. Tyler, you got time for 1 or 2 more, or does anybody else in the audience have any?
Yeah, I'm willing to answer any questions that anyone has. I've got all the time in the world. I don't want to take too much time from y'all, of course, so if y'all are busy.
Yeah, no, we were just running the usual hour on CryptoChurch Sunday, so it doesn't even have to be about safe haven. If anybody wants to come up and and talk about any kind of asset. I think safe haven is relevant to that asset because it'll have to be passed down someday. But okay, I don't know if late night you got anything? Any questions for Tyler? I think he went underground. He said he's on the subway. So yeah, with that being said, I don't know if we have any more questions.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me here today and allowing me to explain everything to y'all's community. You know, we're a really small community right now, and we start off as a startup, but our products speak for themselves. They're patented and they work. If I want to close with a closing statement, just to say that we're really making a push to robustly change the organization, and we expect that towards the end of this week, we should be able to show some of our dedication towards that. There's going to be a pretty nice announcement within our Telegram channel if y'all want to catch it live. We do Flash Fridays. Well, let me explain what a Flash Friday is. So a Flash Friday is essentially an update to what we've accomplished throughout the week and what we plan to do in the near future. Because essentially right now, we don't technically provide roadmaps, because roadmaps always displease people in the end sometimes. But we're actually moving towards making roadmaps right now. So we're going to start having some more graphics for people to understand how each product within our ecosystem is moving and progressing. And more news on that will come in the future.
Perfect. Yeah, we really appreciate you for coming once again. All your knowledge on the platform and all your community. We can't thank you enough. And yeah, like I said, if you have any further questions or want to learn more about Safe Haven, please go to the Safe Haven Telegram group and or DM Tyler, and he'll get you all those documents and walkthroughs and how to set up a inheritance plan for you and your loved ones. I know it's not a popular topic that everybody likes to discuss. Like, death is the last thing everybody wants to think about. But when it comes to being responsible, especially with this new type of wealth or new type of world, we should be passing down data in a safe way. Especially if decentralization is what crypto is about, we should be looking into how to decentralize, pass it down in a decentralized, responsible way. So thank you again. I don't think we have any more questions. Beard, you got any more questions?
Yeah, I wondered, did you all go over like the node programs for Safe Haven?
Yes, we touched on it. I explained how the ecosystem provides utility rewards through smart contracts of our product. Just to briefly explain it again, 80% of the gas utilized within contracts goes to a utility reward pool, which is shared by nodes depending on the percentage entitled to that node, and that percentage for that node pool must be equally shared by all matured nodes. And also the 20% from the gas that gets burnt from total supply. So our token slowly burns over time, and our protocol is set up to where we can handle decimalization. Excuse me.
And since this is about digital inheritance, as far as like just the simple fact of owning a node and the overtime appreciation of the value of that node, with the token burning mechanisms and along with just how the token utility of SHA is utilized, it's showing that program is very valuable. And along with the staking, it's a way for, the average person that doesn't have a node already to kind of work out to build into it. That's one of the reasons why I personally, started investing in the Safe Haven, because Safe Haven, it's offering a lot of opportunity that I see personally in the fintech and the financial aspects, as well as the inheritance of passing those aspects on to your family members.
Yeah, everybody wants to talk DeFi, but nobody wants to talk DeFi inheritance, So that's why, when we brought hacking on, everybody wants to talk DeFi, but nobody wants to talk DeFi security, cybersecurity. So, we're just trying to find these gems out in the space that are necessary for this to even exist. And Safe Haven, in my opinion, is definitely one of those. But yeah, thank you, Bearded, Max, my man, Tyler. Any last remarks? All right. Well, I'll catch y'all later. 7 p.m. Eastern. This was kind of a brief one. We can go on a little bit later if y'all want to do that. But 7 p.m. Eastern every Sunday. Come in and chat with us, discuss crypto. But yeah, we signing out now. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, Darian. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good one.